60% of men lose their hair by age 35. Thing is, when you start to notice hair loss, it's too late. It's easier to keep the hair you have than to replace the hair you've lost. Is that hairline slowly starting to move backwards? Any bald spots yet? How will you feel a year from now if it's business as usual up there? I ask you, do you want a bald spot to pop up, or do you want to do something about it first? Do you want your hairline to recede, or do you want to do something about it first? Why do guys turn to weird solutions or do nothing when they can turn to medicine and science? A one-stop shop for hair loss, skincare, sexual wellness for men. You know what that is? ForHims.com. Thanks to science, baldness can be optional. Hims connects you with real doctors and medical-grade solutions to treat hair loss. Well-known generic equivalents to name-brand prescriptions to help you keep your hair. No snake oil pills or gas station counter supplements. Prescription solutions backed by science. No waiting room, no awkward in-person doctor visits. Saves hours by going to forhims.com. That's what's going to save you hours. So listen up. It's so easy. Answer a few quick questions. Doctors will review and can prescribe you. Products are shipped directly to your door. So please, listen to what I'm saying. Order now. My listeners get a trial month of Hims for just $5 today, right now, while supplies last. See website for full details. This would cost hundreds if you went to the doctor or a pharmacy. Go to forhims.com/Stephen A. That's forhims, FORHIMS.com/Stephen A. Forhims.com/Stephen A. That's with a PH, not a V.
Peter Manning NYC makes clothes for the not-so-tall guy. Pants with shorter inseams, shirts you can wear untucked, and jackets that don't fit like a tent. Check out PeterManningNYC.com and discover a great fit. Use code ESPN for 20% off your order.
This is the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
I'm Stephen A. Oh! What's up, everybody? Welcome to the latest edition of the Stephen A. Smith Show, coming at you as I love to do every weekday over the airwaves of ESPN Radio and ESPN News, 250 plus markets across the United States of America on the AM, FM dial from everywhere from LA to New York and in between. Check your local listings. Plus ESPN Radio on Sirius XM Channel 80. Plus ESPN Radio simulcast over the live national television airwaves of ESPN News. Number to call up as always is 888-SAY-ESPN. That's 888-729-3776. Got a jam-packed show coming your way today. Got some NBA stuff to get into, some trade talk percolating. LeBron James dropping 51 in South Beach, beating the Miami Heat in Miami for the first time since departing in 2014. That's a subject I'll get into a little bit later on. Problems in Titletown, USA. That would be Oakland, California, home of the Golden State Warriors, the way Steph Curry and Draymond and Kevin Durant and all of those boys are looking at this particular moment in time. Lots of stuff to get into as it pertains to that, but football is the order of the day. I am coming at you live from Los Angeles, California, site of the game of the season tonight. Los Angeles Coliseum, L.A., Tinseltown, Hollywood, and everything in between. It's the Los Angeles Rams hosting the Kansas City Chiefs. I cannot wait. I absolutely, positively cannot wait for what I'm about to see tonight. That's why I am here. But there's a slew of NFL games to get into. First of all, let me say this about the New York Giants. I just need to get this off my chest. I don't know whether you're stupid or not. But for those who think you are, I can't blame them. New York Giants have now won their second game in a row, courtesy of a 38-35 win over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now, if you want to sit up there and say, listen, getting the number one overall pick is not that damn important, fine, I'm with you. Because the only quarterback, because clearly that's what you need, a new quarterback, and the only quarterback anybody's been talking about is Justin Herbert out of Oregon. And if you don't think that he's that guy, that he's that dude that can come onto the NFL scene and make noise as a quarterback, okay, then it's not that important. But if you think he is, if you think having that number one overall pick is paramount to getting that quarterback, Even though Tua Tagovailoa out of Alabama ain't going to be eligible for the draft this year. If you believe that a quarterback is in the draft for you to snap, that the New York Giants are idiots for winning these football games. Because it serves no purpose. It makes no sense. It really, really, really doesn't. But I'll get into that subject a little bit later. Here's what I really, really want to talk about. It's two things. It's primarily the NFC East. Because three things happened. Cowboys won. Redskins lost Alex Smith. And the Eagles got stomped on national television by Drew Brees and the New Orleans Saints. As an aside, let me say this. We can watch tonight's game with all the histrionics that we believe will be present. We can watch it salivating at the possibility of Jared Goff going up against Patrick Mahomes and that Kansas City offense against that LA Rams offense all we want to. I got news for you. Drew Brees and New Orleans Saints have put the football world on notice. You better ask somebody. In case you forgot, I'm still here. Completing 77% of his passes. Do y'all realize that Drew Brees has thrown one interception the entire season? One interception the entire season. One. That's it. This brother is playing out of his mind. I don't think there's any debate. I don't think there's any question. If the MVP vote were today, it should go to Drew Brees. Y'all can talk that Patrick Mahomes stuff all you want to, and I got mad love and respect for that kid. He has been absolutely special. Jared Goff has been no slouch. I got it. Aaron Donald is the best defensive player in football. He'll win Defensive Player of the Year over Khalil Mack and J.J. Watt. All of that's true. But I'm telling you right now, when we're talking about league MVP, there is one man and one man only, and that is Drew Brees. And the New Orleans Saints annihilated the reigning defending Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles on national television yesterday. And so embarrassing was it that you even had the classy Malcolm Jenkins giving his former coach Sean Payton the finger just because Sean Payton went for it on a 4th and 6. And ultimately, that led to a touchdown on Malcolm Jenkins. When you look at this New Orleans Saints squad, I really don't know what to say. It's been from start to finish this year. They had a tough time in game 2 against the Cleveland Browns of this season. In week 2. In week 7, it was relatively tough, very tough actually, against the Baltimore Ravens, a game that they escaped with a 24-23 victory. Outside of that, ladies and gentlemen, the New Orleans Saints, the number 1 ranked offense in the entire NFL, number 3 in yards, number 6 in passing and rushing, but number 1 in points scored. Here are their numbers. 40, 43, 33, 43, 30, 45, 51, and 48. You can't make this stuff up. In the last 2 games, they haven't had a single turnover. Ladies and gentlemen, this is something special to behold. And let me tell you something right now. No matter what we're anticipating and expecting to see from the Los Angeles Rams against the Kansas City Chiefs tonight, who amongst you are confident that Jared Goff or Patrick Mahomes, as great as they have been this year, can knock off Drew Brees for a Super Bowl crown? Where's the confidence? Where's the confidence? If you're the Los Angeles Rams, yes, you came back from a 35-17 deficit and you tied the score. But I would remind you, you lost to the New Orleans Saints because Drew Brees dropped 45 on you. 45. This is 3 weeks ago. This is what Drew Brees did. That same Drew Brees hit 25 of 36 for 346 yards with 4 touchdowns, not a single interception, and finished with a rating of 137. Now, Jared Goff did pass for 391 yards and 3 touchdowns, although he threw an interception. I'm just saying, Jared Goff is a stud. Jared Goff can play. But Drew Brees is on another level, y'all. This is something special to behold. And that's the number one subject that we have to peel from this. A legitimate argument can be made right now that the Saints are the best team in football. A legitimate argument can be made right now that the Saints are the team to beat. That they should be the favorites to win it all. And acquiring Eli Apple, while that doesn't appear to be a big deal, over the last 2 weeks, the Saints have given up 21 points. They have outscored Cincinnati and Philadelphia a combined 99-21. They have amassed 1,055 yards in the last 2 games. 1,055 yards. How many times have they registered over 440 yards in total offense this year? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times in 10 games. This is some special stuff that's happening in New Orleans. And if the road to the Super Bowl has to go through New Orleans, how easy do you think that's going to be? I only give one team a chance, and that's the Rams. Oh, by the way, that same Rams that lost their wide receiver Cooper Kupp to an ACL tear, he's out for the season. So now you got Robert Woods with Gurley, with Cooks. I got news for you. As skilled as they are, that ain't enough. That's not enough. That's not enough. Not in my opinion. I don't see that. So you got a problem. And New Orleans got something special, and I think we all got to pay attention to it. Having said all of that, I wish I could say the same for the NFC East. Number one, Alex Smith is out for the year. Gone. Broke his fibia and tibia, broke his ankle in a couple of places. That was pretty bad. So I'm not happy about that for Alex Smith. He's out for the year. Redskins, to me, I wouldn't say fraudulent, but I never considered them a real threat to win anything in the postseason. But still in all, I expected them to get there. But Alex Smith is gone. Redskins lose to the Houston Texans yesterday, courtesy of a field goal kicker that couldn't even get the ball 60 yards. Having said that, what do we have here? Now we have a situation where you're looking at the NFC East and suddenly it's up for grabs because the Cowboys are just a game out from first place in the NFC East and they host a Thanksgiving Day game against the Redskins this Thursday night. You have the Philadelphia Eagles at 4-6, ramrodded, 2 games back. You even got idiots talking about the New York Giants and how they still got a chance. I shouldn't say idiots. But you got cats talking about the New York Giants like they have a chance. No, the hell they don't. And if they do have a chance, it's a damn travesty. 1-7, now you're 3-7, and everybody's talking about you still in the playoff picture. Sound like a damn Cowboy fan. Which absolutely, positively disgusts me. But I will tell y'all something about these Cowboys. And it's something that I absolutely am very, very happy about. You see, it's interesting. When I look at the Cowboys, there's certain ways that you could twist all of this. There's certain ways that you could look at all of this, ladies and gentlemen, and you could take it for what it's worth. But I'm going to tell you something very, very important and near and dear to my soul. I'm looking at the Cowboys now, finishing off an Atlanta Falcons team that has just been a colossal disappointment this year. Okay? And the Dallas Cowboys, right now, at 5-5 on the year. You want me to tell you what I like about what I'm seeing? You see, if the Cowboys win, that's going to make it that Jason Garrett probably is going to wiggle his way into a new contract extension, which means that he's going to stay on board because it gives Jerry Jones the perfect excuse to keep him on board. We all know they'll never win with Jason Garrett. So because this could facilitate Jason Garrett staying on, it actually works for me. because the Cowboys will never win with Jason Garrett. So it's a beautiful thing. It's an absolutely positively beautiful thing that Jason Garrett probably is going to stay on board. But in all seriousness, when you look at the Cowboys, they figured it out. And you know what they figured out, ladies and gentlemen? Oh my goodness. If we just get Ezekiel Elliott the ball, all will be well. All will be well. That's what they're saying. They're thinking everything's going to be just fine. And you know what? Took them long enough. And with the Redskins rather having to rely upon Colt McCoy, then you might have a good point there. The division does appear to be the Cowboys for the taking right now because they'll be in first place because they get ready to play the Redskins. And if they beat the Redskins, that'll be the situation. But here's what I would tell you. I know they're 4-6. I know they've lost 3 of their last 4 games. But the reigning defending Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles, believe it or not, I'm still not counting them out. I came on the air with y'all Friday. I told y'all they were going to get romped. I told y'all they were going to get stomped and beat down and embarrassed. I warned y'all about this. I really did. Because the Saints are just on another level right now. Eagles didn't have a chance. Eagles didn't have a chance, y'all. If you really, really think about it, if we're being honest with ourselves, the Eagles didn't have a chance. And it's unfair to them to think that they did. You know better. I mean, ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something about the Eagles, okay? Just look at this right here, okay? Just think about the injuries that the Eagles sustained this year. Tim Jernigan hasn't played yet this season due to off-season back surgery. You just lost cornerback Ronald Darby out for the season with a torn ACL. Cornerback Jalen Mills, he missed the last 2 games with a foot injury. Jay Ajayi is out for the season with a torn ACL. Darren Sproles missed the last 9 games with a hamstring. Lane Johnson didn't play last week against the Cowboys due to a knee injury. We knew Carson Wentz was out the first 2 games of the season. Alshon Jeffrey was out the first 3 games of the season. Now you got Jason Kelsey, Sidney Jones, Rasul Douglas, who has struggled, by the way, Avonte Maddox, all left yesterday's game with injuries. All of them. All of them. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4 guys yesterday. And before yesterday, you had Alshon and Wentz that both missed games this year. And before that, Lane Johnson missed a game. And then after that, before that rather, you got Sproles, Ajayi, Mills, Darby, and Jernigan. I mean, the Eagles have been decimated by injuries. Absolutely positively decimated. We get that. We understand it. All I'm saying to y'all is this. Now let's look at their schedule. They can't beat the Giants at home. They can't beat the Redskins at home. They do that, they're going to be tied. I'm sorry, they're going to have a 6-6 record. The best case scenario for the Cowboys is that the Cowboys will be 7-5. And then guess what? The Eagles play them in Dallas. You think Dallas is beating the Eagles twice this year? I don't. I'll concede that I expect the Eagles to lose to the Rams. I think they'll beat the Houston Texans in Philadelphia. And then they got that last game of the season. It comes down to the wire on the road at FedEx Field. And oh, by the way, Colt McCoy would be your quarterback. 7-18 as a career starter. A perpetual and perennial backup. Why the hell should I be worried about Colt McCoy? What I'm trying to say to you is that I expect the Eagles to go 5-1. 5-1 the rest of the way. I think they go 5-1. They finish with a 9-7 record. That division will be right there for the Eagles to confiscate. That's what I believe. That's what I believe. That's what I think they could pull off. And I'm of the mindset that they will. Because I don't trust nobody in the NFC East anyway. So what difference does it make? I mean, really, what difference does it make? 888-SAY-ESPN. It's 888-729-3776. You're listening live to the Stephen A. Smith Show, ESPN Radio and ESPN News. Let me transition to basketball for a second here. Because since I'm in L.A., right across the street from the Staples Center, by the way, How could we avoid what we saw LeBron James do last night? His 6 of 8 from three-point range, dropped 51 points, averaging 28.8 a game, nearly 8 assists and 7 rebounds per game. Or 7 rebounds, like 8 assists, whatever it is. LeBron James, right now, I think a legitimate argument can be made. He's a top 2 candidate for league MVP honors. Who else is there? It ain't Kevin Durant right now. It ain't Anthony Davis since they went on a 6-game losing streak. Milwaukee has come crashing back down to earth, even though the Greek freak is freaky. It was beautiful watching Kyrie Irving put on that show Friday night against Toronto in Boston, but then the very, very next night they lose to Utah. So I'm just telling you right now, LeBron James right now is in the discussion for league MVP honors. Top 2. Like I told y'all at the beginning of the season, he would be. It's just phenomenal. He's shooting 39.6% from three-point range. Ladies and gentlemen, that's the second best three-point shooting percentage of his career. The best was 2012-2013 season. I think his second championship when he shot 40% from three-point range. LeBron James pulled up from 32 feet last night. 32 feet. He had 4 step-back jumpers, which is the most he's done from three-point range in a game in his career. When you look at LeBron James right now and the way that he's playing, y'all still sure that I'm off my rocker by saying the Lakers going to the conference finals? Who else definitively can you say can derail them from meeting the Golden State Warriors in the conference finals? Because you see the team growing, you see LeBron getting better and better, and you see the team growing. And since you see the team growing, and you see the team getting better and better, and you see LeBron getting better and better, who's going to bet against him come playoff time? Who's going to do that? I'm not doing it. Not until they go against the Warriors. I'm not doing it. I ain't that stupid. I tried to tell y'all. I tried to tell you. And by the way, he was incentivized even more so by being in Miami because everybody kept talking about how he hadn't won there since he left the Heat in 2014. So I just look at all of those different things and I say, hey, you know, this is something special to behold. I got to give credit where credit is due. And oh, by the way, I didn't see a bunch of hugs for Dwayne Wade. So those are the kind of things that I'm thinking about right now because you know that's his brother. There's very few people on the planet he loves more than he loves Dwayne Wade, who's one of the nicest guys you'll ever want to meet in your life. So all of these things are things that I'm paying attention to. And I suggest y'all do the same. 888-SAY-ESPN. That's 888-729-3776. You're listening live to the Stephen A. Smith Show, ESPN Radio. By the way, Dwayne Wade wasn't there last night. He didn't play last night. That probably had something to do with LeBron dropping 51. Hit 6 of 8 3-pointers, 19 of 31 shots from the field. Time will tell. We shall see. We'll continue talking about this. We definitely get into week 11 of the NFL season. We got an epic encounter, at least from regular season, you know, in terms of the Rams and the Chiefs going up against one another on Monday Night Football tonight in Los Angeles. The football world is watching this one. This is something special to behold. I'm here to tell you that right now. And we'll continue to get into all of that. Plus, we'll talk about some NBA trade talk percolating as well. I'll get to your calls and then some in a few, but not before I talk to my next guest. Booger McFarland, one of the preeminent voices on Monday Night Football. He'll be up next with yours truly, right here on the Stephen A. Smith Show, ESPN Radio, ESPN News.
Peter Manning NYC makes clothes for the not-so-tall guy. Pants with shorter inseams, shirts you can wear untucked, and jackets that don't fit like a tent. Check out PeterManningNYC.com and discover a great fit. Use code ESPN for 20% off your order.
You're listening to the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
Starting off the show, I should have told you the Stephen A. Smith Show is being brought to you by Prilosec OTC. Kick your acid habit with Prilosec OTC. And I also should have told you it was time for Straight Talk, brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless. Best phones, best networks, no contracts. Straight Talk Wireless, nationwide coverage in America's largest and most dependable 4G LTE networks. Any second now, we should have our resident Monday Night Football analyst on the line. As a matter of fact, I'm told he's there now. The one and only Booger McFarland is on the line. What's up, big time? How are you, man?
I'm doing good, Stephen. Hey, what's up, buddy?
My man, I got to tell you something. I've been looking forward to this game, this Monday Night Football game between the Rams and the Chiefs for quite a long time, no doubt about it. That's me saying this because of how prolific these offenses are. You do Monday Night Football for a living right now. What is it like for you imagining what we're going to see tonight?
Well, I share the same sentiment that you do, and I think millions of football fans around the world, Stephen. I think we've all been waiting to see young stars, young quarterbacks, defensive stars, D Ford, Justin Houston, and Ndamukong Suh, Aaron Donald. It's going to be a star-studded event, and I know that we're all disappointed we didn't get to go to Mexico. However, I do think it's apropos that when you have such a star-studded event that we only it's only fitting that we're in Los Angeles for this event tonight.
You know what? I got to ask you this, Booger. I mean, to me, I want to know how important you think this game is for the state of football. I know NFL is number one. NFL is king. We get that. Even when they think they losing money, they making money. They getting ratings. We get all of that. The flip side to it is that we're looking forward to this encounter, and we're not talking about Tom Brady. We're not talking about Aaron Rodgers. We're talking about guys that weren't even in the league 3 years ago, and Patrick Mahomes and Jared Goff. What did you make of that?
Well, I think it's huge. You know, all good things do come to an end. And Brady, Breeze, Rodgers, Roethlisberger, those guys are kind of on the back nine right now. And I think it's important to infuse the NFL with young stars, and that's what you have tonight. Think about this, Stephen A. Patrick Mahomes just turned 23 years old, and he's already one of the faces of football. And you got Todd Gurley and Kareem Hunt, Tyreek Hill. Like, these guys are all under 25, 26, 27 years old. And to me, that's what's going to be on display tonight. You got high-level coaching on one side in Andy Reid, who's 60 years old. Then you go to the other side, you got Sean McVay, the baby-faced kid almost. And so I think it's a good mixture of young, of old, but you're going to see a lot of young stars. And I do think it's an important night for the NFL. That's why Roger Goodell is going to be here tonight. That's why so many of Disney's and ESPN's dignitaries are going to be here.
That's why I'm here. That's why I'm here, Booger. I'm in town. But Booger, that's why I'm here. I'm in town, bro. I'm in town.
I wouldn't know you in town because I haven't seen you. You know.
You know what I'm saying? I'm here. I'm here for you, Booger, for falling. We're right here. The Stephen A. Smith Show, ESPN Radio, ESPN News. You know what, though, Booger? Weeks ago, we're looking forward to this being the likely Super Bowl matchup. And suddenly, it's not likely anymore because of this dude named Drew Brees and the kind of year that he is having right now. Talk to me about what you're seeing from New Orleans offense right now, and how is it comparing and squaring up against the great offenses we may have ever seen in NFL history?
Well, I think you're seeing Drew Brees play the quarterback position as well, if not better than we've ever seen it. He's only got one interception, and for as much as he throws the ball, it just shows you how accurate he is and what kind of decision maker that he is. I think what New Orleans is doing is a combination of a Hall of Fame quarterback, a Hall of Fame play caller in Sean Payton, and a defense that's really playing above what I think they're capable of playing. And if they can stay healthy and they can stay consistent, then I do think the sky's the limit. I will disagree with you one bit, though. I don't think Drew Brees is the MVP. To me, you're falling in the same trap that everybody falls into when it comes to the MVP award. We always go to the quarterback because they put up the gaudy numbers. You know who's been the most productive player in the National Football League?
Are you going to tell me Aaron Donald? Are you going to tell me Aaron Donald?
No, I'm going to tell you Todd Gurley. Todd Gurley has been the most productive player in the National Football League the last year and a half. And I think when you look at what he does for the Rams, because I still believe the Rams are the best team. I think Aqib Talib's absence was a huge factor in the game that the Rams lost at New Orleans. I think
agree.
At full strength, I think the Rams are a slightly better football team. But I think Todd Gurley is the best player on the best team. And I'm tired of all the people falling in love with the quarterback in these numbers. It's about time that we give Todd Gurley his due respect. He is, as you would say, He is a bad man.
Well, listen, it's not disrespectful to sit up there and say he might be number 2 or 3 in league MVP voting.
He's number 1. He's not number 2 or 3.
I got to respectfully disagree with you there, Booger McFarland. And the reason why is because the greatness of Drew Brees we are seeing put on display week after week. We know what Todd Gurley can do, and I'm not taking anything away from him. But when you consider the kind of year that Drew Brees is having and the kind of annihilations they're exhibiting on a week-to-week basis in the National Football League. Well, Boog, I got to pay attention to that, man. I can't ignore that.
I'm going to pay attention to it. I give him the Offensive Player of the Year just like they gave Todd Gurley last year. But right now, for me, I would put Gurley 1. I would even go a step above and put Patrick Mahomes number 2.
Oh, come on.
Probably tied with Drew Brees at 2 right there. And I think after that, to me, there's a huge gap between those 3 and everyone else.
Booger McFarland right here with Stephen A., ESPN Radio, ESPN News. Let's transition to the NFC East for a quick second. You see the Philadelphia Eagles looking the way that they look. These are the reigning defending Super Bowl champions. I knew they were going to get their butts whipped, but I think this is the kind of thing that can inspire them to get their ship righted and they can move in a forward direction. What are your thoughts about the Eagles right now based on what you're seeing from them?
It just goes to show you how football changes year to year, and no 2 teams are alike. Last year, they were one of the deepest football teams that we've ever seen, and they started at the quarterback position. This year, not so much. They've had a lot of injuries, and they haven't been able to quite overcome those injuries. Now, do I think that they're going to play better down the stretch? Sure, I do. I think right now, Dallas, even though their record says they're second, I think they're the best team in the NFC East. You look at the last 2 wins they've gotten, okay, on the road at Philly. Okay, on the road at Atlanta. That showed me something. And I think the formula is really, really simple. Give the ball to Zeke and tell Scott Linehan and Jason Garrett to get the hell out of the way. The defense is playing outstanding. And if they'll just keep that formula and focus on that, I do think that they're going to wind up winning the NFC East.
Booger, I'm looking at the Washington Redskins, and Alex Smith goes down. I want to give them some props, but in the same breath, you're asking me to rely on Colt McCoy the last 6 weeks of the season. I think that spells doom for the Redskins. To that, you say what?
I say I agree with you 110%. I mean, Colt McCoy, he's a career backup, and although he can be serviceable, I do not think he can lead you to a division title, especially with 4 or 5 games left down the stretch. He can come in for a game or 2, but I just don't think that the consistency he needs to show over a 5-game stretch is going to be there.
Are you of the mindset that Jason Garrett should be gone as head coach of the Dallas Cowboys, that they just need to move in a different direction, or do you like things as the way they are right now?
Well, I think eventually, Jason Garrett's going to kind of write his own ticket. I think if the Cowboys don't win the East and get into the playoffs and make some noise, I think he's going to be gone. Much was made about Troy Aikman's comments just about an organizational overhaul. And although I disagree with the organizational overhaul, I do agree that sometimes you need a new voice. The Philadelphia Eagles needed a new voice. Doesn't mean Andy Reid was a bad coach. It just means that they need a new voice. And I think, Jason Garrett, with some of the time management issues, with his level of being a conservative coach, I just think it may be time, for Jerry and Steven to take a step back and say, where do we want to be 5 years from now? And in order to get there, we got to start putting that plan in place now. And maybe that's moving on from Jason Garrett.
Let's transition to the Chicago Bears for a quick second because we saw them beat the Minnesota Vikings last night. Kirk Cousins throw a pick 6. A lot of people are chiding Kirk Cousins and, Minnesota, why are you giving him $84 million, $28 million guaranteed or whatever? I don't think the problem has been with Kirk Cousins. I think it was with their defense earlier on in the season. They've righted their ship to some degree, but I think it's time to give these Chicago Bears some props because Khalil Mack and the crew, these boys can play, and I'm seeing Mitchell Trubisky and these guys develop even more. How much of a threat do you view Chicago as being in the NFC, though?
Chicago can be a threat because they do 2 things that travel anywhere, anytime. They play really good defense. They have an impact player that can change the game on any play in Khalil Mack, and they have a running game led by Howard. When you look at Cohen and Howard, what they do, it kind of reminds you what's going on in New Orleans with Ingram and Kamara, because you have a guy that can pound it in there, and then you have a guy that's really, really good in space. But I think everything stops and starts with Mitchell Trubisky and Matt Nagy. Matt Nagy is not going to get the accolades that we give Sean Payton and Sean McVay and some of the great play callers in our league, but he's right there on that level. And what he's done with Mitchell Trubisky, a guy who really didn't know how to get under center and take a snap, to now he's playing football at a really, really high level. Is he a finished product? No. But I think where he is in the maturation of being a quarterback that can not only be serviceable, but that you can win games with and he can make plays, I just think it shows you where Matt Nagy is.
But can they be trusted away from Chicago? Like, if everybody's got to go to Soldier Field, I give that to you. Because if I'm the Rams, I don't want to be in Soldier Field. If I'm New Orleans, I certainly don't want to be in Soldier Field when I'm accustomed to playing in a dome. But if Chicago has to go on the road, I don't see them carrying that same level of formidability.
Chicago matches up against every team except two, and that's the Rams and the Saints. And the reason being, I don't know if Chicago can consistently get to 30 points. And those teams can score 30 as soon as they wake up in the morning. And I think that's going to be the issue. Now, if that defense can hold the Rams, because they play the Rams in a few weeks, that's going to be a good game. Mm-hmm. Okay, if that defense can hold the Rams and hold the Saints in the low 20s, then Chicago can play with anybody in the NFC.
How much of a threat do you assume the Pittsburgh Steelers will be in the AFC in light of what you saw with their comeback against Jacksonville yesterday?
You know, Stephen A., I don't trust Pittsburgh because of the Jekyll and Hyde effect. You know, in 1 minute for 3 quarters, they're letting lowly Jacksonville shut them out 16-0. And I get it. Jacksonville has shown spurts of being really, really good, especially last year. But Pittsburgh should have never been in that situation. Now, I do like what they do offensively, but when you look at that defense, they're going to have to continue to get edge pressure from T.J. Watt and from our guy coming off the corner, Bud Dupree. If they can get that from those two, then I think defensively they can make some hay. But I just don't trust them week in and week out.
Before I let you get on out of here, who you got for tonight's Monday night encounter?
You know, Stephen A., I think it's a coin flip game, but I go with the team that I think can win the most ways. To me, that'll be the Rams.
You got a score in mind? I got Kansas City winning 41-38.
Well, Stephen A., I tell you what, you come find me today, and you know you and I'll have a little conversation, and maybe we'll put a bag of popcorn on it.
Bag of popcorn. You know what? Why I got to be popcorn? How come it can't be something like Crunching Munch or something? You know what I'm saying? I mean, why I got to be popcorn? Why we got to eat Cracker Jack? Why we got to go to the popcorn? That's just ordinary movie kind of stuff, Booger McFarland. I like Crunching Bunch. That's what I like.
Hey, come find me, but I can't wait to see you.
All right, brother. I'll see you in a few hours. Thanks a lot, my man. The one and only Booger McFarland, one of the voices of Monday Night Football with my man Joe, Jason Witten, and of course Joe Tessitore. They'll be calling the Monday Night Football game for us right here. ESPN Radio, and all of that good stuff. 888-SAY-ESPN. That's 888-729-3776. Peloton is a game-changing indoor cycling bike that brings the energy of live studio classes right to your home anytime you want. This holiday, Peloton is the perfect gift for them and you. So give them up to 14 live cycling classes every day and thousands more on demand. With live cycling classes streaming to your home every day, featuring real-time motivation from world-class instructors, Peloton is the perfect gift this season. Peloton's best offer of the year is here for 1 week only. Now through Cyber Monday, get the Works accessories valued at $249, free when you buy the bike. For more details, see onepeloton.com. 888-SAY-ESPN. That's 888-729-3776. To your phone calls we go in just a few. Don't touch that dial. You're listening live to Stephen A. ESPN Radio, ESPN News.
Geico presents eyewitness interviews with inanimate objects.
This is Belinda Collins, live on the scene of a recent hailstorm. Here to describe the event, a football.
Bro, I was just hanging on the roof when this gnarly storm starts dropping baseball-sized hail. I mean, the shingles got beat up. A few windows looked broken. It was savage.
Did you do anything to help?
Nah, bro. I was in survival mode.
Your football can't help you in a hailstorm, but the Geico Insurance Agency can help you get covered for personal property damage. Call Geico to see how affordable homeowners insurance can be.
Guess what? You're in the middle of the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
Damn it, I mean it! Couple of things to get on out of the way. The Stephen A. Smith Show is being brought to you by Pennzoil Synthetics, taking synthetic motor oil performance to a whole new level. So make the switch to Pennzoil Synthetics today. Plus, the holidays are close, but there's still time for last-minute one-stop shopping. Get gifts that give gifts at Hellsberg Diamonds. Spend $1,199 and get a free Nintendo Switch system. Games sold separately. And, of course, Stephen A. Smith Show right here on ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance, protecting commercial vehicles and offering a specialized coverages designed to protect your business. More at ProgressiveCommercial.com. Let's get back to the phones. Let's go to Robert. You're live with Stephen A. Real quick, Robert, go ahead. Robert, are you there?
Yes, hello.
Go ahead.
Mr. Stephen A.?
Yes, you go ahead quickly, buddy. You only got a minute. Go ahead.
Okay, hey, yes, sir. So I saw you 2 weeks ago when you came here to Dallas. I was the one holding up the sign that said you're a closet Cowboy fan, and I stand by that.
Okay.
They have won 2 road games, and you give them no love. Philadelphia got obliterated. Carson Wentz had 3 interceptions. They look like garbage, and you're sitting here telling me they're going to win the NFC East? If I was Winston-Salem State, I would take the degree away.
I said I didn't jump off the bandwagon. That's what I said. They were my initial pick, and I'm not jumping off the bandwagon just yet. I'm aware of how pathetic they looked. As a matter of fact, I came on national television and radio and predicted they would get stomped by the New Orleans Saints. I know what I said, but the flip side is I'm not going to jump off the bandwagon yet